1, 0.
Real people, real issues, real life. Talk Recovery Radio. Live from the heart of the downtown east side, it's Talk Recovery Radio with Giuseppe Ganci and Darren Gaylor on Vancouver's Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. From the streets to the studio, bringing you addiction recovery stories from real people with lived experience and real experts on today's issues. Tune in live every Thursday, noon to 1. Powered by New West Recovery. Real people, real issues, real life. Talk Recovery Radio.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Talk Recovery Radio. Those are all of our restreaming. If you saw that, you can restream Talk Recovery Radio on your favorite channels. Hello, Mr. Darren Gaylor. How's it going?
Good afternoon, viewers, listeners, and Giuseppe. Good to be here.
Good to be here. Good to be here. 7 seasons means 7 years, means hundreds of shows and guests and thousands of listeners. So we really appreciate you joining us on a Thursday. If you're joining us live, that's awesome. We're on Facebook Live, and then we're broadcast a week later on Vancouver Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM. Just doing the whole COVID thing right now. Can't go to the studio. It's shut down. So maybe soon we'll be back there. And thanks to everybody that donated to Vancouver Co-op Radio in the last fundraising. They're doing some remodeling there. With the donations and a grant, they got over $100,000 to do some work on the studio. So big shout out to that. And if you can still donate at vancouvercoopradio.org and make a donation in the name of Talk Recovery Radio. We get commission. No, we don't. So make those donations. So a couple things going on. I don't know if you see back here. Whoa. This show is brought to you by New West Recovery, which is part of Last Door Recovery Center, which just launched a new app called Better. So it's go online in your browser, go betterapp.ca, and you can download the Android or the iOS version. In the App Store, if you search Better App Recovery, it might come up. We're still, getting some traction to be organically found, but the easiest way is just go to the website, betterapp.ca. And Darren, you downloaded it. What'd you think?
Man, well, I mean, it took a while, right? I want to go through it all, and what are my options? What are the capabilities?
What are my options?
Well, you can't just get it all from the information description, right?
Exactly. There's lots there.
Put your fingers on it. You gotta do your scrolling. It felt really good to be on an app that has social media aspects to it, that has all the information of recovery resources and just that option of helping somebody. Those of us that are in this way of life lose contact to people that are trying to get help, and that's it if they don't answer their phone. And this gives us that detached ability to sort of stay in contact. Look, I'm not going to call you on your phone, right? But be safe, take care of yourself, at least stay connected, and on this option of somebody needing some emergency help, right? Because we're using alone. We're not following, the guidelines of common sense when we're in addiction. And so this app is at least there.
Yeah.
In case. And I love the fact that all of our Talk Recovery shows are listed by subject, that I can I so many times I'm like, when did we talk to so-and-so about so-and-so? And it was here it is. It's all the shows in categories.
Yeah, a lot of shows there too.
Yeah.
For those of you wondering, about being there, so there's a safety net feature. That's the overdose prevention part. And so if you're using drugs alone, you can download the app, and people are volunteering in the app to be, they call them spotters, and just, on alert. If you don't shut your timer off, an alert goes out and you call first responders. Or you can add people in your phone book, in your contact list, to be your safety net. But here's the other thing too, that, and I actually got choked up about, and we'll get into the show very soon with our first guest. I was talking to a reporter who was doing a quick story on this, and I just thought about, an old friend who passed away, and just thought, his name was Tristan. I was talking to his mom, and there was just this conversation, like, if this had been normalized, at that time a few years ago, like, I would have been Tristan's safety net. It's just that idea of when a sponsee or somebody in recovery lapses or remissions or goes back to using, it's like they're no longer part of the recovery community. Well, sometimes that might be true because people are just, aren't really practicing the principles, but it's really not true. Like, we really want people to stay connected to us. And I, would have probably told Tristan, like, hey, if you're going to use this tool, and that way I get alerted if you go unconscious. And I just thought about that, and I just thought, oh my goodness, like how many people would still be alive today? And so yeah, if you're in recovery and you got sponsees, that may be using, like, send them a message and say, hey man, I love you, and whenever you're ready, that's cool. But in the meantime, like, don't use alone, use this app, and I'll be a spotter for you. So there's that, and there's so many other awesome features. But that one really touched my heart when I was talking the other day. So yeah, I just, we can stop people from dying, so hopefully you download it. Go to betterapp.ca. We got another hot topic, but it's already into the show, so we're gonna save it for next week. But go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/talk recovery. I'm gonna post a link. Alberta just did a big speech about their investment in recovery-oriented systems of care, while the rest of Canada is making harm reduction the priority for healthcare. Harm reduction is going to fit underneath their recovery-oriented system of care model. It's a really big historical deal. So we need to watch out what's going to be going on between these provinces. So we're going to talk about it on our show a bit more. But you know what? We're going to get into our first guest. I'm going to let Darren introduce them. So just look for Alberta talks about recovery-oriented systems of care. We're going to post a link about it. But I tell you, man, there's going to be provinces competing against who's overcoming addiction. And these ones are doing it this way, and these ones are doing it that way. And I think there's going to be... I'm looking forward to the results. So anyway, we're on to the show. Darren, who are we talking recovery with today?
I'm excited. We get to talk recovery with Robb Kelly, PhD, aka the recovery expert, CEO and founder of the Robb Kelly Recovery Group, also an author of a book, Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. Also a person in long-term recovery himself, and is here to talk recovery about solutions to the disease of addiction. Dr. Kelly, you've worked with thousands of people, celebrities over the past 20 years. You're what I like to call a full package guest. You've got personal experience. You've got PhD, I believe in psychology, master's of psychology.
I actually have two. I don't want to brag, but I have two PhDs, one psychology, one behavioral science.
And the experience of helping countless thousands of addicts. So, I mean, we've had, 6-7 years of shows and guests of all types of pathways to recovery, attempts at intervention, all different, theologies and methodologies and this, that, and the other thing. And whether I agree or not, you cannot deny someone of your stature, whatever it is you're doing should be heard, should be talked about, should be considered. So we appreciate you being on Talk Recovery with us today.
Awesome. Good to be here, guys. Hope we're all doing well.
Yeah, as well as can be. I mean, the studio kitchen is in effect. Normally we're in, the professional radio studio, but we're making it work. We've kept the show going. and the conversation is in more need now than ever before.
Definitely.
Yeah, let's get into it. And that, that being said, I come from a getting clean of, abstinence is the point. Cold turkey was the way. You don't get to lie. You don't get to, shuffle around in your little slippers. So I think a lot of your philosophy of being, very straightforward and honest, I can definitely relate to. Up here in Canada, though, you're in the States, correct?
Yes, San
Texas?
Antonio, Texas.
Now, it's similar. Like, policies and governments and politicians are just throwing whatever they can at the opioid epidemic. And up here in Canada, anyways, harm reduction is getting a lot of the attention and its foot in the door, which the show believes is absolutely necessary, but not as like this separate entity for treating addiction. What's it like, where you're dealing? Do you see a change in your if we call them clients, people that need help? Are you seeing a change in mindset? That they want an easier, softer way forward, and how does your approach changed?
We see a lot of it. We see a lot of people. We deal with usually A-listers, footballers, musicians, pop stars, the affluent people. Though we do have a pro bono side of the business. But yeah, most people want to go to rehab, wear the slippers, have a massage, have a personal assistant, and they come out. So here's the deal. One of the reasons I got into this in the first place was that I was sick and tired of watching people die of this disease through lack of knowledge. Yeah. I went to these treatment centers, no good. I went to them years and years and years ago, no good. So I knew there was something missing. Then I did the percentage rates over treatment centers, and they're talking about 3 to 8% success rate. And in 12-step rooms, about 4%. And I knew there was something missing. What we missing was when I went back and started to study and do evidence-based research on the brain. So that's why I'm a double PhD. I wanted to work the brain and the body as well. So I'm probably the only psychologist out there who specializes only in alcoholism and addiction. There's millions out there. I don't do that. I'm not your normal psychologist. I want to know what's going on. So what we found out is if you change your mind, if you change your neural pathways, because I have self-sabotaging neural pathways, I'm born this way. So here's something you might not know. You can't drink yourself into becoming an alcoholic. It's a predisposition. Check in your family history. You'll see it there. And if you don't, you might be an heavy drinker. And if you're a heavy drinker, just stop drinking, for God's sake. When it comes to the alcoholic and addict, we don't have a choice. So therefore, there has to be this program. So our program right now is around 96, 97%. Wow, that's impossible. I hear. Really? No. 6,500 patients, and 30 years later, I'm still here doing what I'm doing because we have a passion. All my staff are recovered alcoholics and addicts. So we do get people coming, but we do an assessment. And if we don't think you're ready, we're not taking money off your parents or your husband. Go away, go and play in one of these places. You'll be okay. So we're serious about it. We don't sugarcoat anything. Sick of people dying. So that's what we do. And we do it with a passion, Hey, and listen, some of these heavy drinkers or people who just can't stop drinking or abusers, they go to places, they have massages and saunas and stuff. They come out, they do amazing. That's awesome. I don't deal with them guys. I deal with a chronic alcoholic, the guy who can't stop. I deal with a chronic drug addict, the guy who can't stop, doesn't have a choice like I didn't.
So what is it that you do then? So, I've read your profile and so forth, but if you can tell our listeners, so, what is it that you're doing that some other places may not be doing?
So alcoholism has got very little to do with alcohol, and drug addiction has got very little to do with drugs. We change neural pathways. Self-sabotaging to self-care is what we do. We build a patient from nothing up to wherever he wants to be in life. We reunite families. We get kids back. We change the behavior. And we through this 90-day program, we work on every aspect. So neural pathways in the head for alcoholics, 70, 80% self-sabotaging. And that's why, people when they come to a choice, it's always a bad choice. If you don't change all this, it's going to repeat itself time and time and time again. What we've also found out is the hypothalamus at the base and towards the back of the brain, it's our fight or flight part of the brain. It will tell you when to eat water, when to eat food, whether to run, whether to stay, whether to freeze. That's the hypothalamus. It's also attached to the amygdala. So it tells the normal person to eat food and drink water. You know what it tells the alcoholic? To drink alcohol. So automatically we're fighting against our brain. So unless something changes in the brain, you're always going to relapse. You're always going to go back to the comfort blanket every single time. And this is what people are not getting. Stop telling people about relapse prevention. It's got nothing to do with recovery. Stop teaching out of 40s and 50s and 1960s textbooks. Brain science has changed. Brain spotting is the latest thing. I'm on it, practitioner. You know, these are the new things, new science. And this is what we need to find out. Neuroplasticity is what I specialize in. I'm going to change the way you think about things without you knowing. Otherwise, you're going to relapse. And that's what we do. And life gets better. I say this, guys, when you come on for the first time, your life will change from today. Your life will change from today. And you know, if you continue doing what we do and continue the program after our 90 days and you relapse, I offer a money back guarantee. Hang on a second. Let's hear who else does that. Yeah, I didn't think so. Start putting money where your mouth is, guys out there. If you're doing what you're doing, you've got no problem of offering that. But if you're just in it to take the money off patients, why does little Johnny go to the same treatment center 6 times in a row? What's going on, guys? Where's your buy-in to this? You know, you're talking about people's lives here. You're talking about families, you know, life savings, and you're happy to take Johnny back for the 5th and 6th time. Shame on you. Shame on you is what I say.
So I just want to get right back to the program, Darren. I know you got another question. So what is so a typical day then? So like I know some treatment centers that put things on your head, and you know they try to do that, or they put things on their earlobes, or they do you know you look at things with your eyes and you blink and all that kind of stuff. So is that what's going on, or how does one do brain therapy? Is that even a good word to use? Because there's a lot of moms out there that are really confused, and that's what this is. I want the answer to be for the moms and the dads.
Yeah. So if you're tracing brain, if you put in these hats on and tracing the brain waves and stuff like that, that's great. Anybody can show that. Look at this; it looks amazing. This is why you keep drinking. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Are you going to change anything about that? So you can wear as many helmets and glasses and everything you want and follow lights and grab things. At the end of the day, the only way to change neural pathways is by repetition, strengthen, and confirms, about planting seeds into the subconscious brain. You see, I will sabotage anytime I feel as if I'm not good enough, because alcoholics and addicts and never tall enough, never blonde enough, never thin enough, never rich enough. That's never just the way it always is. Exactly, right? You know, it's just the way it is. So we're dealing with a personality that will self-sabotage. So unless we change that and we show the true person, get rid of the name tags, you know, get rid of them. If you show the normal person what they're capable of doing, because the alcoholic mind, once clear of alcohol, is one of the most amazing minds in the world. It will achieve anything it puts his mind to.
I mean, this being said, you know, the identification of you know, neural pathways, the predispositions, like the biology aspect of this, the identifiers in the brain, is there should be a scientist, a doctor, you know, that can come up with the medical approach and start fixing this, so to speak.
Right? Wouldn't you think so?
Right. So what?
You know, like, why there isn't?
Yeah. Tell us. That's the question.
There's no money in recovery. Unless the pharmaceutical companies cannot give you a pill, unless the treatment centers cannot charge your insurance company, which I'm paying $2,500 a month for my insurance because of these guys out there. That's why there's no money in recovery.
Yeah,
period.
we've been saying that for this show's 7 years old. We've been saying that for 7 years on this show. There's a reason why we talk a lot about recovery capital here, building recovery capital, and you know what I'm going to say it. The idea that you could taper off your medications if you're building your recovery capital over time is a probability. If you're still stealing cars and selling dope and not really doing recovery meetings or whatever, yeah, maybe you should stay on your medications for life. But if you're building your recovery capital, but guess what? Big pharma, I mean, there's no funding in any of that research. Let me tell you,
No,
you want to
there
fund
isn't.
research that's going to determine, less medication? No, we're not interested. We want to talk about your book, obviously, but I got a question. I got to ask. Darren and I are, our anonymity's kind of been blown. We go to a 12-step fellowship and all that, and I believe step 6 and 7, like what you're talking about, like if you don't do step 6 and 7, you're toast. Like if you don't change, you're just the same person, and share about that a lot and everything. So do you mind me asking your personal journey? Like, were you in a 12-step program? Do you hate 12-step programs now? Do your clients go to 12-step programs? Where are you in that? Because I find a lot of people get sober or get clean, and then 10 years later, it's like, and we have a saying here where I work, if you walked into you when you were a newcomer, you wouldn't even be having a job right now. And there's a, if you know what that means, right? It's just like, the 12 steps were good enough to get you clean, but now all of a sudden you're in a naloxone carrying harm reduction in the downtown east side where, we got to meet people where they're at. Well, no one met you where you were at, and now you have a job. So where are you in that sphere? Because I love your program. I think it's great. Go do it. But where are you at in that whole conversation?
I love my 12-step groups. I spoke all over the world on behalf of 12-step groups. The book of Alcoholics Anonymous, that is the book, the guys at the fellowship. So the book, the first 164, here's how I think about that. So I've studied for the last 26, 27 years about the brain, psychology, behavioral science, neuroplasticity. I studied Carl Jung at university, and the best piece of literature I've ever read pertaining to the recovery and description of the alcoholic is the first 164. End of story. So the first and second edition are public domain. So yes, we do use that. It's a phenomenal piece, but you have to read it properly, because even step 1, no, you don't even realize what step 1 is if you don't do your homework. Because if I say to you guys now, what's step 1? Paraphrase step 1. We're all powerless over alcohol, yeah? Do we agree?
Yeah.
Agree?
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't say that. He said we admitted we were powerless.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were I'm not powerless over alcohol. How can I be powerless? I passed six liquor stores on the way to work this morning.
Yeah.
So they talks about defense against the first drink. I like that. But the book is misquoted all of the time. Every single day I hear it in a meeting, it's misquoted. So what happens is the success rate of 12 fellowships has gone down to 3 or 4%, because that's what it's about. It's turning into coffee meetings, and someone might have a book if we're lucky, but hey, there's a new girl coming who's just relapsed, maybe that young girl. That's what it's about.
And people are people. I mean, that's what, I agree with you there, but at the end of the day, people are, it's just, I get what you're saying. It's no one, because a lot of people will leave recovery because it's not perfect, and it's just like, if you got to understand, it's never going to be perfect, and if it is perfect, it might not be as beautiful as it is. So your book, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. So when did you write it? I love the title. It's a topic that's in our, this is a treatment center, so we have group therapy here, and it's like, Daddy, is drunk again, and it's, everyone talks about safety sensitive positions and life and pilots and all that and drug use. Being a parent is like the most safety sensitive position in the world. We're raising the next generation. So how did you get through that? Why did you write the book?
You have to know the backstory, so I'll tell you real quick and give you cliff notes. Many years ago, when I stabbed my wife 3 times one night because she wouldn't let me finish alcohol.
Did you say stab?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't get that.
I fled to Spain, and a few months later, when they didn't press charges, I come back. But she left with my children, ages 1 and 3. I got them back a few days later from my attorney, is more powerful than hers. And I had the children with me. I sat me in front of the TV and I walked to the kitchen and thought, I'll tell you what, I'll just have one beer to celebrate. That's all, one beer. 3 days later, when the police kicked the door down, the children hadn't been fed or changed diapers for 2.5 days. Daddy was unconscious on the floor and the police kicked him up till he woke up. They carried my children out and they handed them over to my wife and her mother and the authorities and child protection services. And quite simply, my daughter, age 3, had all the mummy's hands walking down the path, and she turned around and said, Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. She walked further down the path and she said, Daddy, Daddy, please get better. I was crying, the police were crying, which I thought was weird. She got to right at the bottom of the fence and they opened the gate and she turned around one more time and she says, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. So that's where the title come from. So I've not seen my youngest daughter ever since she was 1. She's 20 something now. But 2-3 years ago, my daughter got in contact with me on Facebook Messenger. We've reunited. She showed me my granddaughter. It was amazing. But her and my wife started talking. And my wife said, what's the last thing you said to your dad? And he said, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. So that's how it came. Because during the last 3 or 4 years, I was writing pieces on paper and giving it to my wife. I mean, literally pieces of paper with scribble on it. And lo and behold, 2 or 3 years later, she produced this manuscript for a book. And I was like, a book? I wrote a book? You kidding me? So we went to press and boom, on Amazon and in Walmart and doing pretty good. But then I wanted to add something else to it because we're always giving away financially, spiritually, mentally to other people. That's part of my deal today. If I don't do that, I'm going to relapse and die. So what we decided, rather than get this book and sell a bunch of copies and maybe give all the profits to somebody, we did all the proceeds. Every $9.99 that comes in, Amazon take their bit, the rest comes to us. It all goes to communities around the US of A. So, you know, if you're a one-parent family and you're getting this second chance with your children, you know, call us. We'll pay for that, you know, rent. We'll buy the small car. That's what we do, because that's what it's all about. You know, is helping other people. That's the fundamental fact of human beings. Is why if somebody isn't lifting you up, guys, walk away. You see, the thing is, God give us, you know, brains to use, and we're born with $1 million minds. Stop hanging around 2-cent minds, because that's what happens when we get into recovery. We come out, we go back to the same old house with the same old family who don't speak our language anymore, because we have a new language in recovery. And what happens is you start the old language and the old behavior, and they relapse. So that was the idea around the book. And I still can't believe I have a book out today. It just doesn't, I don't comprehend that, but it's very powerful and very healing for me. However, I've never read it. I've not read it. Maybe, yeah, a couple of years time when I'm strong enough, but I'm still not strong enough now. Never watch anything on TV, never watch DVDs, never watch radio, nothing. I don't watch anything of when I'm on it.
Is this natural? I mean, that story is, you know, the horrific, you know, quote unquote bottom, you know, type story. Is it a success still? Having yes. Not yet met your daughter, like, what is that message? Because I heard, you know, in the beginning, it's like this, you're gonna get it back. You're gonna get, you know, this relationship back, and it sort of puts this pressure, like, if you don't, you're not really working it, you're not really getting it done. And here is your story. You just said you haven't met your youngest daughter yet. Is it still a success? Are you know, is it still part of the story?
Well, yeah, it is, because I grew up on the projects, and now I'm you know, very, very wealthy because of what I do and how I do it, all my TV and books and stuff, and DVD, sorry, not books. So yeah, there's a success story. That I've helped 6,500 people. There's a success story. The oldest daughter come back in, and there's a success story. Now, the youngest daughter hasn't yet. So I truly believe that if I continue and help people and do what I'm supposed to do on a daily basis, eventually that will happen. I have 100% confidence in that, because everything in my life now is absolutely amazing. I get up, I have to do my own stuff. I have to be serious about it. I chair a 12-step meeting and a book study every Saturday morning, and I just love life. So yeah, it's a success rate. Absolutely. But does it all come back? I don't know, guys. Does it?
What
Because,
is all? I mean, we don't even know what all
exactly.
is, you know, like
Yeah.
I always love sharing, you know, I'm a guy from the West End of Vancouver, and you know, a decade later, I've got 2 car seats in my car as a single guy, and I'm just like, how did I end up with 2 3-year-olds in my life? Like
Right.
that was, you know, when you do your, you know, hopes, dreams, and goals on your first 30 days of treatment, that was not on the
No.
list, you know,
Where was that?
and
Yeah.
now I couldn't even imagine life without it. And I get like,
Yeah.
it's so we don't even know what all is. So if you're watching and you're listening and you're like trying to figure out what recovery is going to get for you, like just hold on, because you have no clue what it's going to
No.
do for you, because you don't
Amazing.
even know. So what do you say to that? You know, obviously they're not little girls because they're not going to watch, but you know, to that little girl who still has a father that's drinking and maybe watching the show, and you know, people out there, we get people dropping their dads off here. What do you say to somebody where, you know, their daddy's not stopping drinking? Do you keep them in the basement? Do you like, what do you do? Like, what's your advice?
From my experience, dialogue's number one. Start talking to someone. If you're a child or an adult or somebody who's drinking, start talking, you know, call somebody up, you know, call you guys up, we have to say call us, we'll tell you. We will never try and tell you anything. We're not into that. We only take on 4 patients at any one time, and we're booked, you know, so it's just helping people. So talk to people, find out what the best way to go, and see how bad it is. I mean, if you're hiding in your bedroom, let's say mommy's passed or left, and you're hiding in your bedroom because every time daddy comes home, you don't know what kind of mood he's going to be in. You need to seek some help of somebody who's responsible, and call them and talk to them and meet them and talk to them. Don't put up with this. And one day, hopefully, just like me, your dad will thank you because you saved his life, because this is what it's about. There are hundreds of people dying every single day of alcohol. It's not even drug addiction, alcoholism. And the reason why they are is lack of knowledge. Repetition strengthens and confirms. You can have a life beyond your wildest dreams if you're listening to this. You're going to treatment centers. There's some amazing treatment centers out there. I forgot to finish out at the end. There's some great ones that we work with, you know, and there's help. And sobriety will give you everything that alcohol promised you. I guarantee that. Yeah, and I often say you go through a real hardcore program and you relapse while doing the program. It's impossible. You can't relapse when you work in a good program, and a work in a good program is being a good human being, going to your meetings online or whatever, you know, complimenting people every day, making people's day. You know, that's what it's about. When you leave me, you should have a smile on your face. If you haven't, I've taken a step back in recovery. That's what it's all about. They call me crazy. I'm the only 60-year-old who walks around with bright orange shirts, with pink pants and a crazy pair of sneakers, driving a crazy expensive car and not really caring, because what my life took off when I stopped caring what people thought about me or what I thought they thought about me. My life took off. It's like, there's no boundaries here, because I might be the only face today that somebody is about to commit suicide or drink themselves to death or overdose might see today. You know, so if you're going to see me and I'm the chronic alcoholic and drug addict that lost everything and became homeless for over a year, and I don't mean couch surfing, I mean living under bushes for a year to where I am today, it could happen to you. The only difference is I believed in myself. And I'm telling you something, guys, what you see in your mind, you can hold in your hand. Don't let anybody tell you different, because that's the key to success. I mean, you look at a basketball court, quantum physics tells us that I could be 15 places, 25 places if it's a bigger court at the same time. Quantum physics talks about nothing being solid. So where would I want to be? I want to be over near the goal. So I get the ball, slam it in the net. I'm the hero of the game. Yes. How do you get there? You might be asking at home. You walk over and you take that position. Don't beg for it. Don't ask for it. Take it. It's yours. You've already visualized it in your head. You see, we have very, very empowered people, and empowered people empower people. And that's what it's about today. It's a journey of hope. It's a journey of inspiration. One of my sponsees called, I've got to go to a party tonight. And I'm just, shut up. You get your best face on and you get to that party where everyone's drinking, because we're on solid ground and your spirituality is amazing, and you make that party work and bang tonight. That's what you need to do. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. You know, we should have died 10 times of our illnesses. but we're here.
And that was that misappropriated, message that, that powerlessness, the ignorance of what that meant, we're powerless, it stuck in. And I hear people talk about it today, I'm powerless. Like they're saying it in present tense. And it's like, give your head a shake, man. I don't want to be clean if I have to live a life where I'm, very, very careful and cautious.
Just one day at a time. Don't use today, please. That's not recovery. That's hell on earth. That's what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
hold it on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you then, like you work on a philosophy outside of residential type treatment.
Yes.
Where I mean, that was my story. It was a safe haven. It was protection, and no doubt. And I often stumbled huge once leaving. And so I misrepresented the need for what I just learned in that second phase. Now, I couldn't imagine myself being given the freedom of my old routine and the unstructure that existed and, my own, like you say, self-sabotaging, conniving, manipulative mindset at the time. Like how does one get prepared to receive your type of program and counseling and therapy, because I needed like a lot of time and being away from that structure to get to that spot where I was like, okay, I'll actually listen now.
How many times did you go to treatment, Darren?
13 times.
There we go.
Wow. So either you wasn't ready, and we know people aren't. We've tried that before. We appease people, or you got the wrong information when you got there, because recovery is simple. It's like building a cake. There's a format to this. There's a format.
There was a little of all what you just listed there. So, I mean, my question is, if I'm in that space, do I have to be the one to become ready and willing? Can people, sort of force some accountability on me? And how does one acquire that accountability with you, outside of that structure?
I know, it's crazy. I mean, it's 1 hour a day for 90 days. Good. How the hell, but yeah, give me 20 minutes, I'll change your life. 20 minutes, I'll change your life. If you're ready, you're ready. We have an assessment. If you're not ready, we'll fast you on. If you're ready, you're ready. Let's change it from day one. Let's get you kicking from day one. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And I start to work with NLP and other stuff on the back of the brain, the subconscious brain. So when it wants to self-sabotage, the nice thoughts come through. Actually, I'm worth it. Because one of the biggest problems with us, especially alcoholics and addicts, is we don't know our true self. If me and you could swap places right now and you were still using, all your problems would be over, because you don't see you. You don't see this amazing, good-looking, attractive, intelligent person. What you see is a piece of crap that everyone's giving up on. And we never know. And my job is to turn that around and make you realize who you are.
Right. And that's the neurobiology of it all, where all my experiences, whether it was, pre-addiction or during addiction, I have no proof and no experience of handling any hardship, any stress, any grieving, process without hiding, running, using, suppressing, stuffing. So I need to have those experiences to empower myself, to believe something different,
Or do you?
Well,
or
don't
do
I?
you? Because we've often picked, especially ladies, up from 10,000 night hotel suites, drinking $150, $160 drinks and $5,000 for a bottle of champagne, and they got ready. They were ready next day, ready to go. We got them well. So that was her rock bottom. So what I'm saying is even though I went just like you, Darren, I went down, psychologically, but one of my jobs today is to make sure that you guys don't, and I'm speaking to the viewers, is where is your bottom? You don't have to be homeless. You don't have to be arrested. 10 DUIs do not make you an alcoholic. Your doctor can't tell you. It's the only self-diagnosed illness in the world.
And it's
I'm
the
gonna say
only
that
and it's
again.
the only illness you can get rid of, really, by making a decision without this huge
Yes,
medical intervention.
exactly.
You and the philosophy. I mean, Darren doesn't work at Last Door anymore. He used to, but he's still on the show because we love him. But really, like it's almost like motivational interviewing has become illegal in North America, especially in Canada. It's like
Yes,
you got to meet people where they're at and don't even make a suggestion. Like the
yes.
only disease in the world where the healthcare professional cannot dictate the healthcare plan, we are asking the patient to create it, which is this idea of meeting people where they're at. But like for example, I mean the pool's closed right now because of COVID, but somebody comes in and they're expecting to see a psychiatrist and they're expecting all this stuff, because they're detoxing, like somehow detoxing when you enter treatment is a thing, but we
Right.
detox every day of our life when we're on the streets, but it becomes a
Yeah.
thing in treatment. And we're like, no, go to the pool. And they're like, well, you don't understand. Like, I need to be no, go
Drugged.
jump off the diving board, just
Yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah.
Something happens to
I
people,
love that.
and it's just one of those things. It's like we've turned, like I know what I've been through, and I chuckle at like when I showed up to rehab and I watched new. I'm just like, man, we go through more in one night in a hotel room than you will here.
Right.
Get over it,
Exactly.
please. Like,
I love that.
stop looking at me like I'm a puppy in the window.
We need more people like you guys, because that's the truth. What is sugarcoating this stuff will kill people, and it has
It kills
killed
people.
millions.
Yeah.
So hey, here's the deal. Here's how you get one. Oh, but I need some detail. No, what you need is a slap in the face and a sit down and a jump in the pool.
Go to the pool. Yeah. We're not going to coddle
So
you.
stop all that crap.
Yeah.
Let's forget about, the detox going to be a happy place while you get rid of it. No, you have to remember this time for the rest of your life. And we're going to show you different. I'm always thinking outside the box, always trying to, everyone thinks I'm crazy, but that's what I do. Because
it's so weird that everybody thinks you're crazy, because it's like you're helping people. Like,
I know.
You know what I mean? It's just I don't know how to change that. We try to change that with this show. We try to change the conversations. Darren and I are both on the Recovery Day committee. We like recovery loud. And
yes, definitely. That's what I'm talking about.
We had Trooper.
I'm gonna show you a picture. Yeah, I'm gonna change my let's go virtual background.
25 to 30,000 people and Trooper live.
So this is Recovery Day, 2 blocks away from our office. This is Uptown New West with 30,000 people. COVID, that took 10 years to do, mind you. It's not like we just got together one day and threw a party. It took 10 years. The first Recovery Day was not that big, let me tell you. And there was a lot of angry committee members, because that's what we do. So I have a question for you before we run out of time. So you're into a fellowship, you're into recovery, you're into, treatment in this neural pathway. Okay. How do you, because so many people want to be radio show hosts, so many people want to write blogs, they get 30 days clean and they want to save the world, and Darren and I have been doing this for over a decade, which is still just a short period of time. How do you, like, a lot of conflicts with traditions sometimes you feel deep down inside, or how do you stay true and humble to recovery? How do you pay it forward, with humility? And then how do you do the job? So, because what advice do you got to people ready to, start their own blog? Everyone's creating them. How do you stay true to the guy you learned how to stay clean?
Well, first of all, you've got to surround yourself by people that believe in you, that lift you up all the time, but will hold you accountable. You see, for me, it's very hard when I'm going to Paramount Studios and the chauffeur me there, and they put me in the best hotels to come off and go, hey, where's my chauffeur? It's not my chauffeur. I've got to be really careful about that. Sometimes I've been on the biggest podcasts in the world. The show went out to 18 million people. It's very hard if you don't know what you're doing. So surround yourself with the right people. If you know the reason you want to do this, then it becomes easy. So if you think that you were born to start a podcast on recovery, then do it. There's only you knows. Or you got to look at all the big guys, the guy Apple, the Google guy, the Amazon guy, all started from basements and small offices, but they had a dream and they won't let anybody spoil that dream. So you have to lift yourself up and lift other people up, but make sure you're in the right environment and stay true. Remember your past. I always ask people, I feel down today. How many people have you called? How many people have you helped? What have you done today for your own recovery? And if you keep true to yourself, life becomes amazing every single day. And that's what it's about. It's life giving back. And we give back financially, a couple of $100,000 a year we give away to people who are in recovery and have children. I'm not giving it away to free. You know, you need to believe in yourself and we'll give it. But also we do emotionally, we do physically. You know, people can call me up direct on my phone if they need to. I often give my personal cell phone number out and I give you 10 minutes that would change your life. Now everyone thinks that's amazing. Oh my God. No, that's for me. That's keeping me sober and humble enough to do that. And as long as I keep that in my mind and the forefront is why you're really doing this. Because if I'm doing it to earn money, I'd have been dead a long time ago. But I'm not. I want to help people, you know, and that's, it's not even, it's a gift. We get to do this stuff today, guys. All three of us get to do this. I mean, how can you have a bad day when you've got up out of a dry bed for me, you know, and Patty, the dog and the wife's cooking breakfast? Are you kidding me? When I was homeless, nobody cooked breakfast for me. There was no dry bed, you know? So you've got to really not get complacent about anything because that's real easy to do. And just live life. One day at a time, guys, doesn't mean I'm not drinking today. It means what can I pack into life right now at 2:47 of my time? Am I having a great time? Yes. Am I inspiring people? Yes. What else can I do? Probably go downstairs, make my wife a drink, feed the dogs. You know, it's like, how can I give back all the time? And I'll leave you with this. You'll never go broke by giving away. That's what I'm going to say about that.
It's true.
It's so true.
Yeah. Brings you the riches you never imagined.
Yes. And let's take away the financial thing. Yes, I've got loads of money. Yes, I live in a nice house, drive crazy cars, but take all that away tomorrow and put me in a tent with my wife, my dogs, and my 2 cats, and I will still be as inspiring the same day. I will still inspire you to hit your dreams. The only best thing about what I'm doing, where I am, and who I am is you believe me because I'm already there. There's some guy in the tent going, hey, you can do this. Yeah, of course I can. You're in the tent.
I'm denying myself that opportunity if I don't know exactly what I have to give away, that you know, like I'll think, oh, I don't have enough. I need to know what I have to give away, that because it means something. It means something to somebody that's yearning to listen and inviting, you know, that conversation to benefit themselves. And I think we need to know that we have that's our duty in a sense to do that. And I'm mad respect and I appreciate, you know, coming on our humble show and having this conversation. I mean, yeah, I'm inspired. I hope this conversation goes out to many, many ears. Yeah, Robb Kelly, PhD, the recovery expert. Check it out. Robb Kelly Recovery Group, lots of online coaching and opportunities. Your website is Robb, R-O-B-B, Kelly.com. Check that out. Thanks again for coming on Talk Recovery, Dr. Kelly.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And if you have any sponsees or anyone you know that's still using drugs out there, we launched an app a couple of days ago. It's got an overdose prevention tool. You can click on it, go to betterapp.ca, and you can have spotters so you don't use alone ever again, and lots of other features. Thanks for tuning in to Vancouver Co-op Radio 100.5 FM, coming to you live every Thursday. And I know you've been on lots of shows, so I got to ask, how'd you like your experience on our show?
Brilliant. Absolutely amazing.
Brilliant. Right on.
I connected with you two guys immediately when you came on screen. So that's always a great, because I don't get to vet anybody. Courtney, my research girl, gets on and goes, hey, listen, you see this Talk Recovery thing? You've got to go on it. I'm like, okay.
Awesome. Oh, yeah,
so
thank you. Well, shout out to her.
No,
awesome.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Thanks. Let's just keep doing what we do. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening. Join us next Thursday. Bye, everybody.